Happy lunch hour, gang. All right, we are now 48 hours away from inauguration, and I don't know if it's just me or if anybody else sees the same things, but isn't it amazing that Trump seems to be able to get more done not being president in 3 months than Biden did in 4 years of being president? Amazing, huh? I guess we do have one good thing to look at from 2020. If it wasn't for the cheating of the Democrats back 4 years ago, tomorrow would be the last day of Donald Trump's presidency, and we would have no idea who's going to be inaugurated on Monday, as opposed to at least we know we've got 4 more years of running this country, hopefully, the way it should be, America first. But it's funny seeing how much Trump is getting done before he's actually officially president. If you guys haven't seen, the hostages in the Middle East are being released tomorrow, provided Netanyahu signs off on that one, or at least their parliament, Congress, whatever the hell you want to call it. Yeah, Joe Biden didn't do that, okay? This is kind of reminiscent of the Iran hostage deal in, 1979, 1980, and all of a sudden, or actually 80, 81, I guess, just before Ronald Reagan took office, all of a sudden Iran's like, we'll let him go. And it's reminiscent again here. Hamas is like, this is the day before Trump's going to become president. We'll let him go. Why? Because Trump basically told them, we're just going to blow you to smithereens if you don't. Okay. Biden was a coward, and Trump actually has the balls to do what's necessary sometimes. But the big one is what most of us were voting on, okay? One of two things. It was either the economy or the southern border. And we've gotten some good news out of the southern border. Some is okay news, but some is good news. If you guys caught this yesterday, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled against the Biden administration on DACA, the deferred action for childhood arrivals crap. You were a baby when you were brought into the United States by 2 illegal parents, therefore you're allowed to stay. Okay. Now, the pros and cons to that one, at least, because there's about 500,000 of them. Okay. The pros and cons to that, at least, nothing that they're going to be deported yet. However, nobody else can apply for the program. Okay. So it's not like Juan and Maria can come in, drop a kid and say, oh, gee, you know what? Actually, if they did that, the kid right now still would be an anchor baby. They can't bring a baby in with them and go, gee, we're now protected. Doesn't work that way. So that's a good thing. But what we're seeing on the other side is, ironically, something that Mitt Romney talked about, 8 years ago, 12 years ago, wherever, 2012, self-deportation, right? Seems to be the illegals that are here are going, oh crap, we need to get out of here. Watch this report. This is from last night.
Some migrants are already choosing to leave the country voluntarily. News Nation's Jorge Ventura joins us live from San Antonio, Texas this morning with more on this story. Jorge, how many migrants are we actually seeing doing this, leaving voluntarily?
Right now, Marky, it's unclear, but we are starting to see a trend, and this comes as cities across the U.S. and Mexico are now bracing for President-elect's deportation operation. But his hardline messaging on those deportation efforts have some migrants panicking and some even choosing now to self-deport back to their home countries. I spoke with immigration attorney Rolando Vasquez, who tells me that some of the immigrants that he represents that entered under the Biden administration are now choosing to return home, fearing deportation under the incoming administration.
Just as recent as yesterday, they notified me that they're going to depart the country voluntarily. And understanding that, the Trump administration is going to carry through on their promises.
And it's not just Trump's deportation plans that are influenced these decisions. Vasquez says it's also that Mexico is now open to accepting non-Mexican deportees. Mexico's move would impact Cuban and Venezuelan migrants the most, since those countries typically do not accept deportation flights from the U.S., but may from Mexico.
This is causing for many migrants to leave on their own, knowing that they're either going to be deported to their home country or be deported to Mexico. And they obviously, the overwhelming majority of them do not want to be in Mexico.
And my sources in Mexico tell me that it's likely that cartels and smugglers will exploit, kidnap, and extort those newly deported migrants. As of right now, it's unclear if Mexico has a plan to protect those deported migrants, Marky.
Yeah, border's about to change on Monday. At least that's what voters were promised. Jorge Ventura, thank you so much, live from San Antonio this morning.
So yeah, even talking with an immigration attorney there who represented some of these people, he's like, they're going home. And honestly, if you think about it, what are they pursuing? The illegals who are leaving. They're pursuing their own freedom because they ain't getting it here. All right, simply put, you think of what their options are right now. It's either to voluntarily leave, go home, make that trek through Mexico again that they shouldn't have made in the first place, or go through the American justice system. We all know how great that's been lately. But think about this. At least right now, they're on their own, crossing the river, going back into Mexico, fighting the coyotes, fighting the cartels, being extorted, possibly raped. And that's better than, oh my God, I'm going to be hunted like a dog in the United States. I'm going to be thrown in prison, God knows for how long, until a court tells me they're going to stick me on a bus and drop me off on the other side of the border anyway. At least this time, by doing it themselves, they got a little bit of control. They're not going to spend any time in a prison. They're going to keep some of their freedom. They're going to have to fight for their way back to Venezuela or El Salvador or wherever the hell they came from in the first place. Either way. But my opinion on all this, good. Go home. Get out. Sorry if it sounds cold. I don't care. Okay. Shouldn't have been here in the first place. But fine. It saves us money because we don't have to use the manpower to find them, arrest them, house them, feed them, and ship them over. And they get to leave. Good. Hopefully, this is what we're going to see a lot of here in the next few weeks, at least, is more and more reports of migrants heading south. You know, gee, it's cold in the United States, right? Yeah, and the people of the United States, our hearts are pretty cold, too, when it comes into people raping, murdering, stealing, driving inflation up, taking away housing, causing problems, etc., etc. Not saying it's all of them. No, okay? Not every single one that's trying to come over here is a criminal. But boy, it sure seems like a lot of them are, right? Fine. You want to come to the United States, do what we've said for years. Go to the consulate, apply for immigration, get a visa, or get whatever paperwork you need and come here legally, okay? If you've got legal reason to, we're more than happy to welcome you here. It's when you break the law that we're not. And I'm sorry, not our problem, not my problem, that the trek home is going to be dangerous. You shouldn't have made it in the first place. You could have gone to the capital city in whatever country you were and found the embassy and said, I'd like to apply for asylum there. But we know that's not what you were after. You were after all the freebies that Joe was going to pass out. Well, guess what? The end of the free lunch is in 48 hours. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. Pinball out.